Hi everyone, a very warm welcome to our webinar, Is MBA under 20 lakhs in the US possible? We will be waiting for a couple of minutes, let a few more participants join in, and then we can start talking about this interesting topic. Thank you, Jhanvi, for agreeing to be a part of this webinar and allowing us to help other learners understand and learn from your experience of studying in the US. Let us give the participants another 2 minutes and then maybe we can start with your introduction. I am Aprajita Tiwari. I'm a marketing manager at upGrad abroad. And today we are here to talk about studying in the US, scholarships, visa, accommodation, the right course selection, course curriculum, anything and everything about studying in the US and how will it will be a lot easier if you know about how to choose the perfect program, country, etc. for your study abroad dream. Okay, Jhanvi, we can start with your introduction. So Jhanvi is a learner at Golden Gate University in the US, San Francisco. She's doing her MBA in finance. I'll allow her to introduce herself. Hi, Jhanvi.
Hello, hello everyone, and good evening. So, I'm pursuing my MBA in finance from Golden Gate University, and I came here in the month of April end. So it's been a good journey so far, and I didn't have anyone to look up to when I came here. So I am a part of this so that I can reach out to as many people as possible to share my journey, and maybe you can take a bits of it and make your experience a little better.
I think it's very important sometimes when you make such a big decision of studying in another country that you're able to share this experience with others. It's always easier to learn from experiences rather than theory.
Yes.
So I think we learn a lot about studying in the US from Jhanvi today. Any questions that you have pertaining to course selection, university selection, you can drop in a mail at social@upgradabroad.com. My colleague Arushi will drop in the email ID. We will make sure you're connected to the expert counselors at upgrad abroad who can guide you very well, who can guide you according to the perfect academic fit. Okay, Jhanvi, I think we can start with the questions. All of your questions that you have pertaining to this webinar, you can put it in the Q&A box and we will answer each and every relevant question at the end of the webinar, so stay tuned. Let us start with the first question, which is, sorry for that. Okay. How did you pick your study abroad destination? How did you, so among a lot of countries nowadays, we have other popular options like France, Finland, Germany has been an upcoming market for a long, long time. You have the UK, Australia, Canada. Why and how did you pick the US for your master's abroad?
I never had multiple choices, to be honest. I was always very keen for the US because I feel the opportunities here and the life here is much more better than the other countries and option. Of course, I mean, you can talk about France, Germany. These all places have a language barrier. So for me personally, I felt that I have a better opportunity in the US. And even if I'm going back to the home country later, it's going to be a good journey for me with the experience that I'll be carrying once I come to the US. So that was the reason, and that was the motive behind me picking up the destination as US and not any other countries. Also, for me, it's important to know the weather, and the place where I am, the weather is pretty good, and it's the best weather considered in the entire US as well, because it's not that cold. So yeah, that's another part which was very important for me because I have to be here. So it's important that I am comfortable where I am with the weather also. So that was a major concern for me when I picked up the country and the destination, specifically this.
Okay, so for Jhanvi, I think the decision was pretty simple. She wanted to go to the US since the beginning. But for most of us, what happens is a very, very critical point that she mentioned is the weather. You have to acclimatize to your new location, and it's very important that these small things you're aware about. Sometimes these are the things that can make your study abroad, destination seem a little uncomfortable, despite having a great college and a great course. But if you're unable to bear with the weather or the circumstances or certain impediments like these, then it becomes difficult for you to concentrate on your studies. And I think it's a very fair, valid point that we look at how the weather is, how the situation is. English speaking country, another language barrier is a main point that. So if you don't want to pick up a new language, I think English speaking countries are much more comfortable in order to go there and settle and get your processes done. So fair enough. How did you pick your program? Was that also something that you were always, sure of? Did you always have that in mind?
I was not really, I was not really sure about the concentration because I just got to know that when once you land here in the US, you get multiple options. I mean, whatever options of concentration is open for the others are open for you as well in the university. So I was confused just between the two courses, that was whether I should take a general MBA or whether I should take finance as my concentration. So the reason why I went with finance was mainly first was the course curriculum. So how do you choose courses here? In India, how we choose is that we are given a syllabus that this is the concentration you picked and these are the courses you'll study. Here you are given a choice of course, like there is a course catalog, a category in the university website where you can go and you can check the courses offered in the term that you are enrolled. And uh, it can be different for me who is studying finance MBA, and even the other guy who is studying finance MBA will have a different course concentration taken, because the core courses are very subjective to what you want to study. Example, if I want to study equity research and someone wants to study investment analysis, we can both choose those subjects. So it's not going to be the same tailor-made curriculum for each one of us when it comes to the concentration. Of course, there are certain foundational courses which are going to be applicable to each and everyone who is going to study MBA. So that is compulsory. But when you make choices with your courses, uh, it's very important you go to the course curriculum and you look at what you want to study, what specific field you want to go for, because here you have an option, so why not? When you don't have an option, when you don't have a choice, you automatically follow what you have given. But here, this was the reason that I chose MBA in finance, because it served everything that I wanted to learn, exactly what I wanted to do. And also, there is one thing, as an international student, I'm sure each one of us want to look at whether the degree is going to be STEM or not. So there are certain concentrations which give you STEM degree, and there are certain which do not give you STEM degree. If you have plans to stay back, then of course, I mean, you should better give chances to having a STEM course rather than getting into a non-STEM degree.
Correct, correct. Okay, so what I understand from Jhanvi's explanation here is, again, two takeaways which are very important. Number one is that studying abroad has a very flexible curriculum system wherein you can pick what you like, even if you have the same program, which makes it easy for you to, it's very democratized. If you want to do X and somebody wants to do a Y program, it's easy to do it within the umbrella of one program, of an MBA. Also, what she said is that if you plan to stay back, there are certain concentrations that you can choose, which makes it eligible for STEM OPT. Your OPT, which is your optional practical training in the US, if I'm correct, that helps you get a longer post-study work visa. So you can take those STEM concentrations despite having a non-STEM course. Is that correct, Janvi?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Okay, so the next question is how important, so we did touch upon it a little bit. I'm sorry, my PPT is giving me a hard time, but we touched on it a little bit. How important is the course curriculum? So we talk to a lot of students, and I don't know whether course curriculum is something that is at the top of their head. They think about financing the education, they think about where to go, they think about what program, but course curriculum is something that most students don't delve deeper into. Do you think when you're planning to go for a master's abroad, that is something that is very important? It's consequential for this decision?
I feel it is 110% very important because your entire career is going to be based on what you are choosing right now. So when I went with a certain courses, there are so this program has many practical uh, like as we had discussed, right? Theory is not that relevant when it comes to taking something as an example. You would rather go for a practical example. So
Correct.
here also, when you are starting something, when you take the course, when you pick the courses, they have case studies, they have different practical projects where you have to actually work on certain things to get the results. So when you are doing that over the period of time, like the course takes 3 months. So when you are studying that, you automatically learn things which are going to be practically implemented later on when you come across certain situations. And that's what is very important when you are doing it abroad, because that's the only experience you have in this country, right? What you're doing with the course till now, until you
Absolutely.
go out for a job. So in my opinion, it's a very important thing that you should look at once you are into the course, because uh, of course MBA course syllabus is compulsory again, but the core courses which you are going to choose are going to be completely your choice that you make. So it has to be important enough that before you land here, you at least once you have a glance of what options are open for you, and then you make a call whether you want to go for it or not, like which concentration or which courses work better for you.
So did you do a comparison? Did you try to understand how is it different here in India or there? What was the key difference that you found that you enrolled? So for all of those people who've joined us now or who don't know who Jhanvi is a student at Golden Gate University in the US, San Francisco, and she's pursuing her MBA in finance. She's gone there through upGrad abroad. So I want to understand how is it different? Is there any point of difference, or the flexibility is the only thing that makes a difference here in India and the studying part and abroad?
So I have made obviously I have friends, so I have spoken to them before, even before I enrolled for the course, because multiple options. So you would like to check all of those. So when you're doing a MBA degree from any other college in India, the course curriculum, I think, is different in the sense of the practical curriculum. Basically, I found what they are doing is very much theoretical as compared to what I am studying here. Because you don't, like, for me, okay, I have taken finance, so I'll talk about a little bit more about that, the difference about that. I have studied finance, and I have friends who have studied finance here, like in India. They have they have never come across a Excel sheet when it comes. When I had my first core course, while I was studying while I was studying back in India through upgrad, that was when I came across the Excel sheet. And the first course that is going to be a course compulsory for all of us who have enrolled in MBA is data analysis for managers. So this is something which teaches you advanced and basic Excel, which is so important. And we in India, we pay for it extra. And like I know people who pay for extra Excel courses.
Correct. Correct.
So yeah, so that's the difference which I felt is a very huge major difference.
Okay, okay. All of you who are raising your hands, please drop in your questions in the Q&A section. We will be taking all of these questions up after the basic set of questions are done by Jhanvi. We'll take all of your questions, everything that is relevant to studying in the US, pursuing your masters in the US. We will be taking them up. Don't worry. Coming to the scary part for students, I think students fear this part the most, whether their visa is going to come through or not. I think this is something that makes a study abroad aspirant very hesitant because this is not in your hands. So, for the US per se, is this process tedious or is it slightly more difficult, or do you think it's the same? What does it take to get it done, like, very simply?
So for me, I was very like, because I know that I have to leave. I have my course starting in 2 months. Since I had when I had completed my online courses, online part with upGrad, I didn't wait for my result, because it's usually that you wait for your result. So I didn't wait for my result. When I say that, I mean, from my side, I started building up my documentations, because you can just find it out even on Google that what documents you need. And I assume I was given a list of documents by upGrad as well, that what are going to be needed. So I started doing that process right after I completed my course, because it takes time for you to go through your tax documents, collect your finances, collect your, even if you want to apply for a loan, it's going to take some time, and you wouldn't want to, hassle into that process, because it becomes easier when you have everything ready, at least from your part. So that is one part what I had made very sure that everything should be clear, all the results, certificates, everything that's needed. Second thing, there is one free service with upGrad that I have made a major use of, is the mock sessions, interview mock sessions. So I have taken multiple rounds of mock sessions, because each round you get to know something new that you wouldn't be aware about. So that's another important thing. And the interview process is actually just fine if you are confident enough with what you want to do, why you are going there, and why would you come back. That is also very important. So it was that for me, and that was my journey for the visa process.
Okay, so what I take away from this is that this process does take time. There are a number of documents that you need to clear this hurdle effectively, easily, smoothly. But if you go in a meticulous, planned way, also with upgrad abroad, you get these services free of cost along with your program. You get all the visa support end to end. They help you with the document checklist. They'll help you with scanning your documents. And like Jhanvi said, practice made her better with the mock sessions. So those are also included in the cost of your program. So I think it becomes a lot easier when your motive is clear, your documents are clear. So it's nothing to be scared about, right, Jhanvi?
Exactly.
Okay. Moving on to another very important question. Finding your home away from home, accommodation. This is also something that is at the top of a student's head because this is where you'll be spending the next 3, 4 years. If you're going to work there, this is where you'll be staying. How is it that you found the perfect fit here?
Okay. Just one thing that I recently got to know, that now upGrad has someone who looks for the accommodation here. I
Yes.
didn't have anyone. So when I moved here, before I moved here, when I was in India, before I got my visa done, I had started joining the groups on Facebook, because they have maximum number of recommendations about someone posting that, hey, this place is empty, I would like someone to move in, etc., etc. So you connect with people over there. Second thing, how do you know about where to live? So I didn't know that. So I was not comfortable to get into a lease when I was in India before looking at the place and the area. I didn't go into any lease. When I came, I had options open though. When I was in India, I spoke to people, I had connected with multiple people, and I had kept those options open, saying that once I'm there, I will come to check the place and then we can go ahead with it. So I met a person, uh, and then I told her, like, I was in conversation. Then when I came here, I was living with a very far off relative who again does not stay in San Francisco, stays in San Ramon. So initial few days I was with him. I found my roommate through Facebook, and she's also from Golden Gate University. So that's how that's how I met her. And then we used to shortlist the place. One day, almost three places, we used to go and check the place, and then we finally came to this place where I'm living currently, and I moved in here on 1st of June. So it was a very sorted journey if you know what are the specifications that you need, what's your budget, and what's the location, because that's very important here.
So I think now upgrad abroad now does have an accommodation partner.
Yeah,
Here we do think about how can we keep all the support services with our product ready so that Jhanvi can just concentrate on going and studying there, and all of the other supplementary services, that is your accommodation, your onshore, your visa, your SOP, LOR, that can be taken care of by us. We have Casita with us. We have an accommodation page, but I also feel that how Janvi found her accommodation through Facebook, through these Facebook community groups. I think it's very important to network. You're going to a new country altogether. I think it prepares you. You make friends before even reaching there. Also, looking at apartments, I think it's a very interesting process, and it's a very integral process to going and studying abroad. Even when we shift our cities here in India because of our universities or colleges, we do the exact same thing. Yes, studying when you want to study abroad, it's a little difficult because you can't run back home that easily. But I feel that accommodation is a very key element. Research how much ever you can. As she said, your locality matters. Who are the people who are living there? What is the majority of population, who's living there? What do they do? Your peers, where are they staying? Whether it is another university or is it the same university, but where are they staying? So knowing all of these things, talking to other people who are enrolled in the same university as you is very important. All of you who are raising hands, we'll be taking your questions. Please put in your questions in the Q&A box. We'll take all of them without fail. Okay, let's go to the next question, which is, were any scholarships, waivers provided to you? Any fee concession because you went through a platform, you went in through upgrad abroad? Were there any scholarships or fee waivers or
yeah,
post?
there is some, yeah, correct. So there is some part of the waiver that is going to be provided because we come through upgrad. So it's not a very, I think it's somewhere around 2000, if I'm not wrong, because I had registered in back in May. So
You talking about
yeah,
2000 USD?
yes,
Okay,
2000 USD.
okay,
So
okay.
around that amount, I'm not exactly sure about it, but round off, yeah, it was
Okay.
somewhere around that. So that's the amount you get waived off because of upgrad. And also there are many scholarships available which we can apply for. I have just applied for it, so I don't know if I'll be eligible or getting it, but you can always apply for the scholarships. And also if there are any courses which you have already done in your home country and you have the marks for it, results for it, you can ask for a waiver of an entire course and they would give you that if it is applicable for you.
Okay, so two things here, scholarships. So depending on which university you go to, which program have you chosen with upgrad abroad, there is a scholarship that is provided to all of the learners who go through us. So maybe the program that Jhanvi went for had 2000 USD as a scholarship that was provided. But every course, so there are waivers till about 30,000 USD as well. So it's dependent on the program, it's dependent on the country, the university. If you want to know more about these scholarships, or you have a certain country in mind and your budget is fixed, it's restricted, then you can drop in your email ID and contact number at social@upgradabroad.com. Arushi, my colleague, has pinned the email address in the chat box. You can copy that, you can drop in your details, and anything and everything about scholarships and waivers. Waivers is nothing but, so I'm sure you're aware of the upgrad abroad model. A part of it is online in India. So you start online in India and then you complete on campus abroad. So any online course or credit that you've done here in India will be waived off for you in the US. So you don't, in the US or your destination country, so you don't have to repeatedly do the same thing if you've already done it. If there are any doubts, if you want to know about any other country except the US, please feel free. You drop in your email ID and contact number on the mentioned email ID by Arushi, and we will solve all of your doubts. You can have a free academic profile evaluation with our expert mentors. They can guide you perfectly as to what will be the best fit for you. Moving ahead, are there any internship opportunities? This is also, I think, one of the most important questions that students have. Are there any part-time work opportunities, internship opportunities, any opportunities in the university itself wherein you can work? Because I think that is a very, very major way in which international students make up for their fee as well. So you don't want to just sit there and study. A part of the exposure also is about working there, understanding the culture there. So tell us more about internships and certain part-time work opportunities that you have been given or you've experienced.
Yeah, so internships, there are two things. So when we are on the student visa, we are only allowed to do a part-time job and not an internship. So internship will come only if it is included in your program specific. It's a very program specific thing. So I'm not talking about that for now. About the part-time, you are allowed to do part-time jobs on campus. So currently, I am doing a part-time job on campus, and my journey was very simple. I had started applying for part-time jobs. I had started networking with people. I had started reaching out to people who are at the university when I was back in India. So I was very sure that I would want to have a job like when I land here. Uh, but I didn't get a job when I landed here because my resume was not updated as per the US standards. So the first thing what I came and I did here was I connected to the career center which Golden Gate University has, and they have counselors who will help you with your resume specific. So it's going to be a one-on-one call, and then they help you to update it, brush it, and so that's what I did in the first week when I came here, along with looking for my accommodation. I did this because it was a very important thing for me to do. And then I started applying for whatever the positions were open. And here, there is one thing which is very important in the US, whether you take it for part-time job, full-time job, is networking and referrals. If you get a referral, you have higher chances of getting for an interview. I'm not saying a job, but an interview call uh, is a greater chance. So I had started networking and asking people for it when I was in India. Even the faculty, there are live sessions with GGU faculty. Why not connect with them on LinkedIn? And you just let them know that you're there. So that was how I applied, and I ended up with a job, which is a part-time job on campus.
That is so amazing, Jhanvi. I think we need to understand that networking nowadays, especially with LinkedIn, has become so important. It is so important for you when you make that decision of studying in a particular university, connecting with your professors, connecting with alumni, connecting with people who've just been there, who've done a short-term course there. I think it's very important. Networking is critical because you never know what will click when you're looking for a job. Also, as Jhanvi said, referrals are very important. So if you do know people, or like she's saying, Golden Gate faculty, make the most of it. I think these two things are the first hand impression that you can make on, say, a faculty or a visiting faculty or an industry leader. If somebody's coming for a summit to your college or a seminar or a webinar, make sure you make your presence felt. Also researching, knowing what companies are around that offer part-time work to students, what kind of work is available in the university for a part-time student. As Jhanvi said, that you cannot take up an internship, only part-time work is what you can do. So probably research, network, and get referred. Three things that I'm going to remember from what Jhanvi said. Okay, so every question that I ask you, I keep saying it's the most important question. It's a critical question because I think all of these questions that we're discussing with you are maybe the first 5, 6 things that come to a study abroad aspirant's mind. US is touted as one of the more expensive countries. It's not the most, affordable when it comes to studying abroad, staying there. Perhaps if you get a job, if you don't, so with that uncertainty of job, etc. So now you're there. Give us an idea of what your costs are like, where you spend.
I spend the most only on my rent.
Okay. So
So yeah,
accommodation. Okay.
so accommodation is going to be a very huge part of the living expense. Food is expensive, but if you can cook, you are going to save a lot of your money. I'm
Learn
emphasizing a
cooking.
lot because I know people who spend a lot on food just because they don't know how to cook. I mean, even I don't know how to cook, but I use YouTube and each one of us can use that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's an easy option because otherwise it's going to go on a very higher side. But I think even when I'm talking about rent, there are various categories. Like if you are okay to share your room, if you're okay to share your bathroom, if you're okay to have someone in the living area, then it's going to get on a lower side. Currently, I have someone in the living space as well. Uh, so I think it's again a very big chunk of my amount, like which goes into the rent. Then there are the other phone bills, Wi-Fi bills, but there are different plans for that. So you choose whichever is suitable for you according to your needs, and yeah, so that's how it is.
Okay, so the major part is your accommodation, which I absolutely understand.
Yeah.
As a student, your university and program is done, so that will be the major chunk. And there are tips and tricks. So this we only get to know when we talk to somebody who's staying there and doing the drill. So you're saying that learn to cook a little bit. So all of you participants who are here, learn to cook a little bit. You don't want to spend a lot of money on food. Also, it's a good skill to have. Why not? Always good to pick up something new. Cost of living in the US is not as much as we imagine it to be. It depends again on where is your university located. So there are universities that are located in suburbs wherein the prices do go down, and it is completely manageable with the part-time work that you undertake. But that also depends from city to city, from university to university. And yes, it is maybe on the higher side, but it's not something which is undoable, which you can't do. So just researching, planning, being methodical with your expenses will help you. Okay,
Again, I would like to add,
yes,
even this
please.
is very much manageable with the part time.
It is very much manageable. Yes, that's what. So
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal. You can manage it. It may be on the high
Yes.
side if you compare it to, say, a Germany or, say, a France or Europe per se. It may be higher, but so you paid higher as well. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can manage it
exactly.
easily. Yes, yes, absolutely. I get that. So this again, I'm going to say the same thing again. Very important question. So So you've been there for some time, you've seen the university, you've understood the curriculum, you're also doing all of these practical assignments that you said, you've done a part of your online training here in India. So what are the aspirations? So you've done a course from upGrad abroad, you're there in the US, in San Francisco. What kind of aspirations do you feel that are reasonable to have? That this is something that I think I aspire and I'll be able to achieve that.
Apparently, it's getting a job.
Okay.
So, but I'm very specific. Like I'm very specific about what work I want to do, and I really look forward. I mean, I know that people here are like go with whatever options are available, but I would like to choose the option that I want. So I think after this journey, I think I am on that side. I'll be only able to answer it in the near future, but I strongly feel that I can be at a position where I want to be, and that's going to be obviously I don't want to, so my aspiration is very simple. I don't want to get into a very huge company. I want to go into a smaller company where the role is going to be bigger. So that's what I'm looking for
That is very
because,
smart. I think I've never heard that before. I usually hear I want to work for an MNC, I want to do this. I think sometimes understanding the potential of the course of the program of yourself is also very important. So you go into a relatively smaller company, but your role is much bigger. You
yeah,
actually get a chance to change something in the organization. You have a say in the organization. You get to do what your passion, wants you to do. So it's okay, you may not, or it could also be the other way around. US has the top tech companies, almost all of the top tech companies that are creating innovation, that are leading research and development all over the world. It is the hub of technology and innovation, R&D. So if in case you plan to go the other way around, also US is a very good destination for your studies abroad. Okay, so before I take up the questions in the Q&A section, Arushi will drop in, my colleague will drop in the social media handles for upGrad abroad. All of your study abroad queries, doubts, apprehensions, we try to cover it up in our social media handles. We try to create posts that make, you can save and use later. You can get in touch for all of your study abroad content binge that you want to do. You can also DM us on our handles, asking for help, asking for for us to schedule something for you, a one-on-one interaction. If you're not connected to us, please do go and follow and subscribe to our channels. Apart from that, there is an email address in the chat box, social@upgradabroad.com. Any query, any concern, any in-depth analysis of your academic profile, if you want a mentor who can guide you properly, please feel free to drop in your email ID and contact number. Somebody from our team will definitely get in touch with you. Okay, so this is an anonymous attendee. Okay, so they're saying MBA in the US versus MBA in UK. What is the difference? Jhanvi, was UK ever in your consideration set, or it was
never.
US right from the get-go?
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, as per my knowledge, it all depends on what specialization, what university, what is it geared towards. There may be difference between the country per se, that USA as a country for your specialization, what kind of opportunities does it hold versus UK, what is the economy like there. But if you want the answer geared towards your specialization of choice, or you have a particular university in mind in both the countries, please drop in your email ID and phone number on social@upgradabroad.com. This question can only be answered with respect to your academic profile. Otherwise, I can tell you a lot about the US and the UK, but how is it, which one is a better fit for you? We can only understand once we see your profile. So please drop in your number and your email address. Somebody from the team will get back to you. Sneha. Okay, so Sneha is asking, can we know a little bit more about Jhanvi's background? Where does she come from? What has she studied in her graduation? Okay, Sneha, Jhanvi, please tell us a little bit
Yeah.
more about yourself.
So I have done my bachelor's and master's in commerce from India. And I was working when I was in India. And when I had taken the course, I was working in the finance industry as well for around 4.5 years. And that's when I took the call that I want to move here and I wanted to change certain things. So
Okay.
that's where I'm coming from.
So, Jhanvi, just building on Sneha's question, do you think it is a good decision? Did you do the right thing by taking that call to upskill and move to another country altogether?
I think, yeah, so far it's been good because it's not just about, you learn a lot more once you're out of your house, once you're in a new country. There are so many multiple things that you want to deal with, and you can't even go and ask someone because the people you know are in the same journey as you. So you ultimately have to figure it out on your by yourself.
Okay, okay. So there is another anonymous question. Can you list down a few universities which offer MBA under 20 lakhs? So we have 65 plus universities, we have 100 plus programs, we have 9 countries in our portfolio now. There are multiple programs that are under 20 lakhs. There are certain programs that are also under 10 lakhs, which includes your living cost. But for that, we need to understand your profile. We need to understand what is it that you exactly want to do. This question will be better answered by an expert after a profile evaluation. Again, to all of you who are here, the profile evaluation, your academic profile evaluation is absolutely free. You just have to drop in your phone number and email address on upgrad abroad's either on the website or on social at upgradabroad.com. On that email ID, we will arrange a special one-on-one expert mentor session with you wherein you can figure out what is a better fit. Okay, so Sushma is asking, again, this is a question for Jhanvi. How is the internship or job scenario for the MBA Golden Gate University students? Jhanvi.
Uh, so that's what I mentioned. So I have come across students from the university, and they are doing internships and they are in a good position for the jobs as well. So I have not come across anyone yet who has been facing any difficulty because of the university per se. So it's been good, and even like as I mentioned, on my visa status, I can't go for an internship right now, but I will be able to do it in the month of maybe January. So so yeah, I think once I start looking out for it, I can answer that better. But I don't see any negativity as so far because even for my own self, I have connected with people and I've tried to find that out, and it's been good for them. But yeah, you need to give like 110% to get the results out of it.
So it's only not what the university gives you. It's also the skill that you develop. It's also the passion that you need to carry. That it's okay, okay, I'm going to sit for 20 more interviews or I'm going to do this part-time work. So
Yeah,
openness there.
exactly,
It's not
exactly.
that Golden Gate can give you something on a platter or any university for that matter can
It's
give
more like
you.
you need to know. Yeah, it's like how
Absolutely.
desperate are you to go for it and how many attempts and how many, how many like how many job applications you're going to be able to fill in because it's going to be a tedious process and you need to be ready for it. It's everything is so competitive.
Correct. So
Yeah.
Sushma, you need to understand that there are so many international students, especially in the US. So you got to fight for your position there. You have jobs, is what Jhanvi is saying. Jhanvi is saying there is no problem that I
Yeah,
see in terms of opportunities. There are opportunities, but will you be passionate enough or greedy enough to grab that opportunity for yourself
exactly.
is dependent on you. Okay, this is a different question. Jhanvi, only if you're comfortable in sharing, what is the rent of your current apartment and how big is it? Jemima. I hope I'm
Okay.
pronouncing your name okay.
Yeah, so my apartment currently is two bedroom, two bathroom apartment, and it's not very big. It's 700 square feet. 700 or 800 square feet apartment, and we are currently 4 people living here, and the rent is around 4,000.
Okay, so that gets
Yeah.
divided equally amongst the four of you.
It doesn't get equally. I mean, it's not divided equally because like one person lives in the master room and one person
Oh,
lives in the living room.
living
So
area.
it's not equal. It's different for each one of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Balaji is asking us, is there an age limit for the programs?
No.
Balaji, there is no age limit for the programs, but your background, what have you been doing? Is there any gap? What was your last educational qualification? That's why I keep re-emphasizing the fact that whenever you plan to study abroad, a profile evaluation is critical. It is key to your application. That piece of paper that contains all of your experience and all of your educational qualifications is very important for us to understand where you fit, Balaji. So there is no age limit per se, but what have you been doing till now? What change have you created? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you working somewhere? Are you still studying, etc.? So all of these things we need to understand. Again, social at upgradabroad.com is the answer to your question. Please drop in your email ID and phone number. Okay, so Syed Rahman is asking us, Jhanvi, what was your visa journey like? If the university is ranked below, does it impact in getting a visa? So I don't think the second part of the question is mandatory for you to answer, but I would just like to understand, was your visa journey smooth? Was it very difficult as we were discussing in the first half of the webinar? Maybe he was not here. Can you just tell us in brief what was your visa journey like?
For me, it was a good journey. Like I had my documentations ready, like before even I got my visa slot. So yeah, I had that ready, and then I had taken multiple rounds of mock interviews with upGrad. So I was pretty much prepared for my interview, and it went well for me.
So I also think sometimes, visa, accommodation, these are just words that are thrown around to scare you. If your documents are in place, if
Yeah.
your motive is in place, why would a country stop an international student from coming? So you just have to be clear, you have to be methodical, you have to approach it in a way that is fair and clear. And I don't think I have studied abroad myself. I don't think that is something that you would face. Syed, you are looking for admission in American Business School. That is great. It's one of the very good schools in France. Email ID, okay. Can you please drop in your phone number as well, Arushi? If he's dropping it in the chat window, else you can mail it to us at social@upgradabroad.com. We will make sure somebody gets back to you on an urgent basis. American Business School is a very good school in France. That's a good decision. Okay. How about the IELTS score? How much bands are required? Jhanvi, what was your experience?
I think 6.5 is required. My score was 7.5, but I know a friend who had scored lower than that, and like it was not a problem.
Okay.
But I think that's an like I would still not recommend that. Just let it go. 6.5 is the minimum band, so it's not that difficult. And plus, I think you will be getting tutorials. I guess there are certain sessions that upgrad is going to be helping you with for your IELTS preparation. So it's going to be helpful if you join that.
So
You don't need anything more than that.
okay, yes. So upgrad abroad also, as Jhanvi mentioned, we help you with your IELTS preparation. We need to understand one thing: the medium of instruction there for your program, which means the language that the program is taught in is English. So 6.5 is something that would just give you basis and the university basis that you're going to be able to effectively grasp the curriculum. So don't take IELTS as a hurdle. IELTS is another way to polish your language skills. It's always better to, be at least adept at the language instead of being a novice. So I just feel that it helps you polish your language skills a little bit. And it's a 9-band scale, and Jhanvi is saying 6.5 and above should be good to go. Okay, we're going to take the next question. No, we do not help with securing a green card. No, we don't do that. We're not a visa agency. We deal with programs, study abroad programs, hybrid programs. All of these other services are supplementary services that will make your life easier. You can concentrate on your end goal, but we're not a visa agency. The green card is not something that we can promise. Was Jhanvi working when she was in India? Yes, she said that she was working in the finance sector when she was in India. Yes, she was working. How valid degree earned through upGrad as compared to a regular degree? So I would just like to mention that the degree that you get from the university is the university's degree. upGrad abroad is not mentioned on that degree. It is as authentic as having, applying directly to the university. We also have that option if in case you want to directly do all of your 2 years or 4 years in your bachelor's. If in case you want to do it on campus, you can also do that with us. But your degree is completely authentic. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that at all. Okay, so there are a couple of questions that again will need expert advice. Somebody's asking about what are your thoughts on MBA with an economics or policy specialization? I think again, what have you done for your bachelor's? What have what has your academic trajectory been like? Very important to understand whether this is a good option for you or not. This may be a great course. There may be universities that are providing the same course with great specializations, but is that correct for your academic trajectory? We can only figure out once we understand your CV or your resume. Okay. There are not enough finance available. Okay, so you're asking about finance. So we also do a couple of webinars on financing the dream of studying abroad. You can head over to our YouTube channel. You can also head over to our website and see the webinars. We do have webinars on financing your education. That is also one supplementary service that upGrad Abroad provides. So you just need to concentrate on your program and your university and securing your admission there. Apart from that, all of these things are taken care of by upGrad. Balaji, these details, you're aspiring to move abroad, you have 12 years of experience, that is great, that is amazing. I think you are more than eligible to go and study abroad. You can drop in your details. Again, as I said, Arushi, if you've not pinned the comment, just put it again in the chat box. You can mail in your details, your resume, your phone number, and our expert academic counselors will get back to you. Okay, okay, this is a very important question. How easy was it at upGrad to finish your online classes? This is one aspect that we haven't touched. Thanks, Sneha. That's a very, very intelligent question. Jhanvi, please let us know.
Okay. So I was the first, like my batch was the first batch to go through the process. So initially we had certain issues, which was like deadline. We had deadlines every week, like we had submissions every week, and we requested upGrad that hey, this is not something which is going to be very much possible since we are working professionals. So I think now it has been changed to alternate weeks, like the submissions are there for alternate weeks and not
every week.
Not every week. Yeah, so that was one part of it, and I think other than that, everything for online was very easy for me. I mean, easy in the sense it was manageable. It was not something that was out of the box. Yeah.
Okay, so the commitment that you require as a working professional, or if you don't plan to immediately leave your job, you want to, pursue the online part of it while you're working, the commitment that, so Jhanvi is saying the commitment that is required to do that is not that taxing. Of course, you will have to study and complete it, and that is important, take your exams on time, but it's not that taxing, it's manageable. you need to put in the extra. So if you've taken such a big decision of upskilling, rebooting your career, upskilling yourself, so there'll be slight hard work. It's not very, very easy, but you do have to do that in order to secure a master's degree or a bachelor's degree. There is some hard work that you put in. Okay, so a lot of you are giving me, so I'm not an academic counselor, I'm a marketing manager. A lot of you are giving me your specifics that I have this much work experience, am I eligible? I may find you eligible, but it's very important for our counselors to understand your profile. I don't want to make any commitment on a webinar. So anybody who's keen on getting a counseling done, please drop in your details on social at upgradabroad.com. The only person who can guide you better is a counselor who is an expert in that field. I'm not an expert in checking out your resume. So this will be better done if we schedule a one-on-one for you. And trust me, that will be better. You can at least switch on your camera, have a candid discussion with them. Okay. Golden Gate University is my dream university. I want to do my MS from there. That's great. That's great. You can register via our website, or you can drop in your details. We'll make sure your dream comes true. So any challenges during visa interview? She said no. If your documents are ready, if you've researched enough, if you've done a couple of mock sessions, you should be good to go. Okay, Shemaima is asking 4,000 for 4 people. So 4,000 USD is the rent, Jhanvi. Am I correct? That 4,000 is one figure which is divided then amongst who takes the master bedroom, who takes the living room, who takes the small room, etc. What is the average pay for part-time job in college? Totally depends on what that part-time job is. Jhanvi, can you share? So you have a part-time job. So what is an average that somebody can expect that this is something I'll earn?
It's the base pay, which is compulsory by the government of California. So that's going to be $18, and it increases when the government increases it. So,
okay, so
you just get paid the minimum wages that's there.
Okay. So that's $18, you said?
Yeah.
$18. So $18 per hour, correct?
Correct.
That is fixed by the government.
Yeah.
And that is the thing that you get irrespective of what job you do?
Yeah.
Irrespective of. Okay, that's a thing learned today. Okay. I have a lot of sports achievements in national and state level. Will that help during visa and admissions? So this is Surya. Surya, it depends on what program are you applying for. You may be eligible for a scholarship if it's a sports management program. During visa, there is no help that this can provide. But yes, this adds credibility that you've been playing in national events. You're representing, your country, your state, etc. So I'm sure that's a very good achievement to have. But we need to know what program, what country are you going to. Only then will we understand how much does it impact. Is it necessary to have a work experience of 3 to 5 years? No, it is not necessary. So working professionals usually find it easier to take that decision to upskill, to move to a course, but it's not mandatory. Work experience is not mandatory. Is it manageable to pay tuition fee and handle your expenses by your part-time job? Jhanvi, would you mind sharing light as to how are you? So you don't have to tell us figures, but how are you managing? So let's learn firsthand that how did you plan your entire master's degree in the US?
Okay. Perfect. So the tuition fee is not covered by me. My parents cover it for me, or maybe the loan factor of it. And talking about the living expense, I started working. My first 2 months was covered by my family. And once I got the job, I started managing it on my own. So the first thing I do is I save enough money that is there for my, of course, for my rent, because that's a major part. And then comes the usual, the bills, the utilities, the phone bill, Wi-Fi, all of those things which are going to be a compulsion. Then comes the grocery part of it, which is going to be there every month. After that, if there is something left, then I can spend it out, and it's usually there. I mean, I'm not out of money till now. So that part is still like it's been good with me.
Okay, sounds good. How much is the tuition fee going to cost you in GGO? So please visit our website, upgradapro.com. All of your fee, all of your semester-wise split fee is mentioned there. Also, the amount of money that you're going to save going with upgrad abroad is also mentioned there. Surya, we will not be having one-on-one talks. It's only through Q&A. I'm sure you must have realized by now. Is there an option where we get to study? Okay, so Deepak, that is the upgrad abroad model. That is the hybrid learning experience that we provide. So you start here, you start your journey online in India while working, maybe if you're a working professional, or else you start online in India. And the next 1 year, if you're talking about masters, is when you complete it on campus abroad. So that is exactly what the model is. Deepak. So if you're interested, please drop in your details. Could you please conduct a webinar on Masters in Business Analytics as well? Absolutely, absolutely. It's always good to know that you are enjoying the webinars, you want to know more. Arushi, can we make a note of it? Business Analytics Masters is something that they want to hear more about. We can get an industry leader, we can get a learner, we can get faculty. Okay. Sneha has a lot of questions. I like that. Okay, so we are short on time. Let me take one or two last questions. Did Jhanvi give GMAT for her MBA? No, Jhanvi did not give her GMAT or GRE. So you don't need a GRE for MBA, but so GMAT and GRE are not required if you go through upgrad abroad. Why so? Because you complete one year online in India. So you are at that particular skill level where you don't have to prove it through an exam. So GMAT, GRE are absolutely not required. I'm looking for MBA. Okay. How many hours? Jhanvi, how many hours per day are we allowed to work as part-timers?
It's not per day, it's going to be per week, and we are allowed to work for 20 hours per week as a part-time job.
Okay. So it's fixed at per week. So with specialization of MBA, are you studying, Jhanvi, ma'am? How many years of work ex is good to do an MBA? So specialization, Jhanvi, ma'am, is finance. And Jhanvi, you've had an experience about 3 to 4 years. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But however, it's not mandatory. No MBA has, so the MBA that you have with us, there's not a mandatory requirement of you to be having a certain X number of years as work ex, but it's always good if you're a working professional, it's always easier. Okay, so this, okay, I think we've covered almost all questions. For all other questions, again, your one-stop shop is social@upgradabroad.com. We will answer all of your questions. You will immediately be connected with the counselor, wherein you can ask all of these questions again in detail, how much ever longer that you want to keep them. So don't worry, all of them will be answered. All of your eligibility questions as well. I had a lot of eligibility questions in the chat box, which I had to skip because that is something that an expert counselor can only take after looking at your academic profile evaluation. Only after that can somebody suggest something to you. Okay, thank you so much, Jhanvi. Thank you so much for sparing this time and helping us educate all of our participants about studying in the US, what made you take this decision, and we'll have you again soon discussing about more avenues that you've explored, and maybe we can do a webinar on what your day is like, how many hours you study, how many hours you work, etc., and know more. I think that's very interesting to know how does one day of Jhanvi's life look like in the US. Thank you everybody for joining in. Please follow our social media handles. You can write to us anytime at social@upgradapro.com. Thank you for joining our webinar. Have a good day ahead. Thanks, Jhanvi. Thank you for joining. Arushi.
Thank you.
stop the webinar. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you.